We always have a chat to Dave Rubin at the end of our working week, especially when the President of the United States makes as little sense as this.
Are you saying that you would be taking part in our upcoming election in 2024?
Well, I'll either be rolling an egg or being the guy who's pushing them out.
Come on, help a brother out. Make some news for me.
I plan on running out, but we're not prepared to announce it yet.
What happens to this man on Easter? First, he's taking orders from the Easter Bunny. Then you flash a year later. Al Roker asks him the easiest softball question, basically, are you running or not? And he should have some one-liner somewhere in that muddled brain that he should just be able to get to relatively quickly, despite all the obstacles on the way, at least in his mind. But he bumbled it out. He cannot say one consecutive coherent sentence to another one. He simply can't do it. So I guess he announced he's running, or he then kind of made it seem like maybe he'll half run or do. Nobody knows, but he doesn't know what he's doing. And again, I always bring it back to when you see these moments with him, it's one thing when he, stumbling through a teleprompter or he's extemporaneously just kind of losing it. But when she, and I mean Dr. Jill Biden, don't forget she's a doctor of something or other, when Dr. Jill Biden is standing right next to him, she knows what he's going through. She really does. I mean, I know we can be jokey about all this stuff, but the guy is obviously at 81, I think, years old. He is dealing with cognitive decline. We know it. And that she just pushes him out there unapologetically is really something else.
So my fear turns to 24, which looks at this stage, until we hear from DeSantis, to be Trump-Biden 2. Sadly, polls point that we'll get exactly the same result, because my view is that while 80 million people mightn't love Joe Biden, I'm pretty sure 80 million people don't like Donald Trump. So we're in this scenario where it's all going to go round again. I mean, essentially, the Democrats can do what they've done to the economy, can do what they've done to the cities, can do what they've done to the schools, but as long as they're not the orange man, they'll vote for this empty vessel of a bloke. And again, I just say this to people that are watching, and they might be Trump fans or they might be DeSantis fans. Biden would win if it's Trump versus Biden. Is that unfair?
Well, it's not unfair, and I say that as a Trump voter last time, and as you know, I still like Trump. I obviously love DeSantis as a Floridian here, and we'll see what DeSantis does. But I think there's an obvious truth that you're saying there, which is if we're to believe that the last election was legitimate, which if we're playing in this pool of reality, let's say that is the case. Now, Donald Trump doesn't believe that, but let's just say that it was roughly legitimate. If Joe Biden got 81 million votes, which sounds crazy without campaigning and for all his flaws and everything, and Donald Trump got 75 million, who is the new Trump voter? Let's say you can get every single person who voted for Donald Trump to do it again.
Exactly.
Where is the new Trump voter? Who's the person? Is it either a young person who finally became of voting age who suddenly says, boy, I do love Trump? Or is it someone that maybe is so disgusted by the Democrats they could go the other way? Maybe that exists, but the issue really is that we know that Donald Trump's, unfortunately, his negatives, I would argue somewhat unjustly, are extremely high. A certain amount of people who would be otherwise depressed to go out and vote for Joe Biden again because of all the reasons that we just laid out, on top of the bad policies and everything else, they will vote just as an anti-Trump vote. So I don't see it. To me, it seems like we know what the ceiling is with Trump, around 75 million votes. We don't know what the floor is, meaning people that have they're tired of it. His supporters, some of them were older, right? So you're going to lose a little bit of that. I mean, Biden had some older ones too. But that seems to be the problem. And that also is why I think functionally why DeSantis is a better candidate, because with DeSantis, man, he can get all the crossover people, all those disaffected liberals, the angry Democrats after, all the lockdowns in blue states and things of that nature. And you just have to look in the numbers here. The guy DeSantis won his first election by 30,000 votes. 4 years later, he won by 1.6 million votes. That shows you that's not all Republicans. I brought 2 companies into Florida. Not all my employees are hardcore Republicans in that way, but they're all hardcore DeSantis supporters, and that tells you something.